Welcome to Immigration Insider with your host, attorney John Nicelli. This podcast is an educational forum on how to deal with complex aspects of immigration and pitfalls to avoid. You can find this show on all the major platforms, including YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and on our website, johnnicelli.com. Now here's the host of Immigration Insider, attorney John Nicelli.
Hi, everyone. My name is John Nicelli. I'm an immigration attorney in New York City, and I've been practicing in the field of immigration law for approximately 42 years. I think I know a little bit about immigration, and I would like to share some of my knowledge with you today regarding what we all seem to be experiencing with the crisis at the border. As you've heard many politicians say, that these people who are crossing the border are all applicants for asylum and that have this fear of returning to their homeland. Well, the problem that we're experiencing today is that the politicians don't even know what the word asylum means, and that also goes for many asylum applicants. I wouldn't say all politicians, but I would say a very high portion of them. So I would like to give you some of the basics, all right? Asylum is a form of protection that's granted to those who can demonstrate that they are able or unwilling to return to their country because of a well-founded fear of persecution. And that well-founded fear is based on one of five factors, or more than one of five factors. But the five factors are: you've been basically persecuted or discriminated against based on your race, based on your religion, based on your nationality, based on membership in a particular social group, or your political opinion. Now, the definitions of each of those categories varies widely because there are many factors that could be credible claims for asylum based on race, religion, nationality, membership in a particular social group, or political opinion. But I'm not going to go into all of them today because that's not what's going on at the border. What's going on at the border is that people are coming here basically claiming asylum in the United States because the smugglers who have basically brought them to the border, who they've paid for the majority of them, have told them as soon as you arrive at the border, just file for asylum. Most applicants don't even know what the word asylum means. So the problem that we have is they go and they apply for asylum. Now, under American law, if you claim that you're fearful of going back and you want to file for asylum, well, the immigration agents and the Border Patrol agents who speak with you, they're supposed to basically take your information and find out why you're afraid to go back to your country. And if you can tell them any particular reasons, then they would set you up for what they call a credible fear interview, and then with an asylum officer. And if at the credible fear interview, the officer determines that you are fearful of returning, that you do have a credible fear, then asylum could be granted by an asylum officer, or if they feel you don't have a credible fear, you could be referred to an immigration judge. What's missing in the whole scenario of what's going on is that many people are coming here solely for economic reasons. They want to have a better life, they want to get paid better wages, they want to have better working conditions, or they may just even want to have a job, because many are coming where they have no jobs. They may work on farms and have very little education, very little skills. So it's very difficult to get a job. So they feel that the United States is paved with golden streets, and they're just going to come to the United States and work, which is basically what they want. But unfortunately, that's a total abuse of the asylum regulations. And it's an abuse that's been going on for quite some time. And this abuse is actually been allowed to occur by our United States government, because the United States government has told the Border Patrol, and from the president on down, and not only this Democratic Party, but the previous political parties also. Okay, what they tell you, well, if they arrive at the border and they want asylum, well, they have to be processed. Well, no, what if they arrive at the border? They should first determine if they have any kind of a fear of returning, And if they don't, and they are coming here for economic reasons, they should issue what's called an order of expedited removal. Expedited removal is something that was created by Congress back in 1996. And that law states that if you are arrested within 2 weeks of your arrival and you are within 100 miles of the United States border, you can be expeditiously removed, which means that a Border Patrol agent will issue an expedited removal order for you to be removed from the United States. You'll be detained and removed. If you enter through by sea, through a boat, or by a boat rather, then they have up to 2 years, a little actually up to 2 years it has to be less than 2 years here in the United States. So up to 2 years to find you, arrest you, and issue an expedited removal order. Now, let's say you fear returning to your country. So the Border Patrol says, okay, well, I'm going to still issue an order of expedited removal. You would still have an opportunity to see an immigration judge. Okay, but the problem is that if you don't have any claim whatsoever and is simply based on economic reasons, there is no reason for you to see an immigration judge when you have absolutely no proof of any type of persecution whatsoever, and you state to the Border Patrol you are coming here for economic reasons. All right, that's a big problem we have. And they've been admitting people, not admitting them, they're paroling them into the United States, and they just put them in proceedings basically and then release them, which cannot continue. It's caused a major crisis here in the United States, as everyone knows. So the new bill, which I've been hearing about, which I haven't fully read yet, because it hasn't been published, but the little tidbits that I do know, states that, from what I understand, that they're going to allow 5,000 migrants a day to come into the United States. And if they reach the 5,000 people a day that are coming to the United States that claiming asylum, then they're not going to turn it back, supposedly. And the president will have the authority to close the border. Okay, well, that to me is not a good solution. Because if you allow 5,000 people a day to come in, or up to 5,000, that's approximately 35,000 people a week, which calculates to be 420,000 people per year. And in 3 years, that's 600,000 people. Now, if they all want to have their asylum hearings and they want to see a judge, well, the immigration courts already have over 3 million cases pending in the system. So now in 3 years, you're going to add another million, and that's only for asylum. It's ridiculous, okay? The people have to be stopped at the border. Orders of expedited removal have to be issued. People have to be detained or told they're going to be detained so that they leave, okay? Because they cannot come here solely for economic reasons. There are many ways to come to the United States through work and employment, many ways, and the Congress has to actually increase the amount of visas that are available through many of those programs that we have on the books for years. So the only solution really is coming to the border. When they come to the border, you can't tie up all the Border Patrol people. What's happening is that they're processing thousands of people, and then they're not guarding the border because they're in an office processing people. This is crazy. Okay, but that's what's going on. So I urge everyone, call your senators, call your congressmen, and tell them enough is enough. This has to stop. People come, they don't even know what asylum means. They're taught how to beat the system, how to live off the system. That's what's going on right now. The smugglers are telling them, just go to the United States. You're going to get free medical care. Your kids go to school. You're going to get car service in certain cities. You get basically anything you want. And here in New York, they put them in hotel rooms. Hotels, some of the hotels are $800,000-$900,000 a day. It's outrageous. It's costing taxpayers billions and billions and billions of dollars. It must stop. It cannot continue. Our hospitals have become overwhelmed by people who have no insurance but are sick and they have to be treated, which I have no problem treating people, but it is not our problem. The whole world can't come here to be treated. It's ridiculous. Okay, we have to help the countries. The United States congressmen and senators have to meet with the foreign officials of these countries where these people are leaving. Because if you can figure out a way to help those countries, to help themselves. No different than the way the United States helped all of Europe when it was bombed out during World War II. We don't have many people coming from Europe anymore. Why? Because there's no reason to leave your homeland. And it's the same exact thing we can do in those countries. It seems that nobody's doing anything regarding that. No one. I can't, I hear these stories every day and I say, are these people living on another planet? What is going on? What is going on with our politicians? Everything is about politics and nothing about the benefit of the people. Okay? Another thing, most people, when they finally get to see an immigration judge, which sometimes can take a year or 2 or 3, they're being deported. Why are they being deported? Because they have no claim or they can't prove they have a claim. So the judges have no choice. Even if they want to help the people, they have to deport them. So then they deport them and they file an appeal. And the appeal goes to the Board of Immigration Appeals. What happens there? Probably 90% or higher, probably 99%, are just the decisions are held and the order remains in effect. So now you have a final order of deportation or removal. So what happens? The people are still here. They're still released. Many of them disappear. Where is ICE going to go find them? To arrest them, to detain them? This is what's going on right now. The problem has so overwhelmed ICE officers. The cost has cost the government billions of dollars. Billions, not millions. And that's $1 million, billions of dollars, and millions in many programs that the U.S. taxpayers are paying for, which we can do a lot better things with, like clearing up water and air pollution and having safe water to drink throughout the United States. There's so many programs that we can use that extra money for. It's outrageous. So if the politicians, they want, like we hear every day in New York, you have the governor, she has 10,000 jobs available in New York for people to work. That's wonderful. Well, instead of telling people, encouraging them to cross the border and file a fake asylum claim, perhaps it would be best if they would increase the current programs that we have on the books to have people come to the United States through work programs. We have many work programs, temporary work programs, permanent work programs, but there aren't enough visas to accommodate all the people. Congress sits and looks at, oh, we have so many illegal people. Oh, that's okay because they're all working on farms, a lot of them. So we need all the farm workers because no one wants to do that work. Well, you know what? Expand the farm worker program and maybe more workers would be able to come legal to the United States and pay taxes instead of working here for cash and not paying taxes and living off the system. This is what's going on. You must complain to your congressmen and senators. You've had enough. If you want to solve the problem, speak to the people who are involved in immigration. Speak to the immigration judges. Speak to the Border Patrol personnel. Speak to the ICE officers. Speak to immigration lawyers. Speak to pro bono organizations who represent immigrants. That's how you solve a problem. But if the politicians think they know everything and refuse to speak to people that work in the field, how would you ever solve a problem? It is ridiculous and has cost so many billions of dollars, and every day it's millions and millions and millions more. People have to be told that filing asylum is not a good thing to do if you don't have a claim, because they can be found to have frivolous asylum applications. And if you're found by an immigration judge to have a frivolous asylum application, you will be barred for life from filing any application, even if you married a citizen later or have American citizen children who file and they are 21 years old. This is not the way to go. They have to be stopped at the border and returned at the border. There has to be a program. Another thing they can do is they must change the law. And the law must state, you come to the border, you cannot file asylum. You want to file asylum, you file in the country you live in or the country you pass through. You go to the American Embassy, they can set it up that the American Embassy can do video conferencing calls with an asylum officer here in the United States, and it's fine. They don't leave their country. They go to the embassy. They have their hearing just as if they were here in the United States. It doesn't tie up the courts. It doesn't tie up anyone. That's what has to be done. And it has to be done immediately. It's ridiculous what's going on. So with that, I urge you all to call your congressmen and senators and tell them, change the asylum law, change the abuse that's going on, change the outrageousness of the billions it's costing the United States government, the city governments, the state governments. It is ridiculous, okay? But that's what's been happening, and it must stop as soon as possible. The Republicans and Democrats must get together and must start listening to the people that work in the field if they want a solution to the problem. Instead of doing what they all do best, they only care about politics, and that's sad. Thank you.
You've been tuning into Immigration Insider with your host, attorney John Nicelli. You can find this show on all the major platforms, including YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and on our website, johnnicelli.com. Thank you for your positive reviews, comments, questions, and for sharing this show with others.